You're not gonna believe what I found. I don't normally go to Walmart, but just the other day I went to run some errands, and as I was perusing the craft aisle, I spotted these punch needle kits. I bought this one for about $13 Canadian, and I'm gonna test it out and share my thoughts. So let's take a look at what's inside this kit. We've got our pattern printed on our fabric, some instructions, a plastic embroidery hoop, finally! Okay, now I have a good feeling about this kit. Our last two kits had wooden hoops instead of plastic ones, and I was starting to lose hope a little bit. We've also got a variety of acrylic yarns. I think the yarn amounts might be cutting it close in terms of this pattern, but we'll see. I could be wrong. It's also that same type of acrylic yarn that was in both the Amazon and Desairs punch needle kits. I think they're all sourcing from the same supplier. If things turn out well, I might have enough of this type of yarn left over from all of the kits I've tried out to make another separate punch needle piece. In this smaller packet, we've got our wire threader, some white embroidery floss for finishing the back. First time I've seen that included in a punch needle kit so far, our punch needle, and finally a blunt embroidery needle for finishing the back. So let's unfold our fabric here and uh-oh. This fabric seems like Aida cloth. This is not a good sign, folks. Aida isn't great for punch needle because it's just too stiff and makes for quite an unpleasant punching experience. But let's see. Back to the punch needle. This punch needle is equivalent to an Oxford 8 regular punch needle. Normally this would be a negative for me because most cheap punch needle kits display the stitch side only. Having a bunch of long loops that you're hiding is pointless, but this punch needle kit displays the loop side, so I'm actually very okay with this. Let's just hope we have enough yarn to complete this kit. So now that we've gone through what's inside this kit, let's try it out. So let's thread our needle and start punching. I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. This is horrid to punch. Absolutely horrid. Do you see the force with which I have to push this needle into the fabric? That is not normal. With monk's cloth, your punch needle would glide through smoothly like butter. This is horrible. And my wrist is in so much pain. I can't punch with this anymore. Let's switch to an Oxford 8 regular. I have a feeling that this will be marginally better. That's a little better, I guess. But because this kit has the wrong fabric, even punching with this needle is getting tough. Let me switch to an Oxford 8 fine punch needle. I'm going with the 8 fine because I think it'll glide through the fabric better, and plus I want to keep the same loop length as our previous punch needles. Okay. Yeah, that works for now. Luckily, our yarn here fits in the fine as well as the regular. Some yarns are funny like that. What I do like about this punch needle kit is the color variety. I also like that we have a good balance of these colors in this project, as opposed to a design with a background, if you get what I mean. And I do like that we'll be displaying the loop side at the end, because that's the type of punch needle I do. My main style of punching is punch needle rug hooking, where the loop side is used, mainly for practical yet decorative projects. So let's snip off these ends. I will say that this yarn looks great on both the stitch and loop sides, but it is a pain in the butt to snip and poke into place. Maybe it should have been spun a little tighter to work perfectly as a loop side yarn, but I really can't be too picky here with a $13 kit. So let's finish off this kit by basting the back. I'm actually impressed that they included something like this in a cheap kit. I personally find finishing details to be very key in punch needle, and I think it's great that they included some embroidery floss and a needle to do this. Additionally, I don't know if you noticed, but this needle is blunt. Like, it doesn't have a point to it at all, which honestly I think is fine for a kit like this. The weave in our fabric is loose enough that it works, and it makes the kit to be a little bit more kid-friendly. So here is what the kit looked like on its packaging, and here's my completed version. On the plus side, we have a lot of yarn left over from the kit, and I love the design, but I really hate to say this, especially because this kit had a lot of good points, but I don't recommend you buy this kit, and that's because of the fabric. Aida cloth does not work for punch needle. It is too stiff and makes the punching experience unpleasant. You know, any type of repetitive hand motion, including those in punch needle, can cause strain and injuries, but this kit just exacerbates that because of the sheer effort it takes to get the needle through the fabric. The only reason I was able to complete this kit is because I have a wide variety of punch needles and tools that I've gathered over the years. A beginner or someone new to punch needle would have a hard time finishing this kit, I think. I will always vouch for getting a punch needle kit from someone who actually does this craft and understands it, but it's understandable if you do want to go the big box craft store route to see if you like the craft without spending a ton of money. But if you want to do that, there are plenty of better choices at similar price points that you can explore, perhaps with some add-ons like a plastic embroidery hoop. But you know, you can always get a plastic embroidery hoop or an extra punch needle or extra threaders or whatever. If the pattern and the fabric itself is wrong, then there's no fixing the kit. So I wouldn't recommend you buy this. Are there any punch needle or craft kits out on the market that you want me to try out? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.